Welcome to the Career Equation podcast, and actually our final episode in our very first series. And autumn really has properly arrived. The nights are drawing in. And I don't know about you, Zoe, but that kind of comfy, cozy feeling always just makes me want to slow down a little bit. I've been doing some journaling. I've started a Substack called Fireweed. I might tell you a bit more about that later. Yes, to reflect on reinvention, reflect on the year, and actually thinking a lot about the ways in which the world of work has shifted and my relationship with it and with careers, and maybe also about how our podcast also needs to evolve with it.
You'll spend 80,000 hours at work. You're here because you want those hours to count. Hi, I'm Zoe Schofield.
And I'm Erica Sosner. A warm welcome to the Career Equation podcast. On this podcast, we take time out from our award-winning careers consultancy to share a game-changing formula to help you solve the sum of your life.
Each week, we and our guests use the career equation to explore their story so far and help them unlock the secrets of a fulfilling career. It's definitely heading towards the hot water bottle and scarf mode for me. In fact, I did a little post yesterday with the scarf on for the first time on Instagram. I was like, ooh, anything to hide the turkey neck these days. And I did have a hot water bottle incident this week where I was cozied up on the sofa with a hot water bottle and it burst.
Oh, no.
Beware of old hot water bottles. Yes. Everybody check yours before you start using it this year. But yeah, no, I think it really is that sort of reflective season, isn't it? You know, and I find myself thinking about, okay, so what's worked really well this year? What surprised me? You know, like, what have I learned about myself? I think that sort of reflection really does sit well with what we're going to talk about today in terms of reflecting on the career equation and the podcast, and, you know, and it's all ready for a little bit of a refresh, I think.
Yes, exactly. So, dear listeners, we'd like to tell you a little bit about the changes that we're going to be making and why, because we're going to be recording a whole new series this autumn and winter and going live again in 2026. And Zoe, we're going to start with explaining a little bit about how like the visuals of the career equation itself are changing. The model's staying the same, but actually we've been doing some reflection and updating that's going to come out in our branding. You're going to see new visuals, both on the podcast, the website, the socials and everywhere, with a slight tweak. So do you want to share a little bit about what we're doing and why?
I mean, I think we know that through our coaching practices, through the events that we do in the workshop, that whilst the career equation model works beautifully and it really does make a difference for people, what we have noticed is that when we explain it visually, it hasn't always landed, especially with the sort of mathematical mind, the engineers of the world that we work with. There's sort of like a need for us to explain a bit more. So we thought, does this provide us with an opportunity to rethink what do we need to do with it then visually to make it sit more comfy with everybody? And so I think that's where we started, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, every great model evolves and iterates over time. The model itself and the framework of skills, passions, impact and environment being the sort of deciding factors that make the biggest difference and facilitate great career conversations, that's all staying the same and that's still true. And of course, we know that environment makes the biggest difference. So it amplifies if it works for you, and it really constrains and disempowers if it doesn't work for you. And people really get that. And it's really helped thousands of people all over the world to reach their aha moment about what drives them or what drives their talent and the people they're having the conversations with. But we've been using this visual of dividing by environment. And so technically speaking, mathematically speaking, it looks like a worse environment leads to more clarity, which is really not what we mean. And my engineering and sculpture husband, was always very troubled by one kind of redesign, that the visual and framework for it. And actually a few clients were also saying it gives us pause in our understanding. So we wanted to make sure that that's really accelerated and decided that it's time for an update.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what, we're saying that the method is sound, as in the principles, the components of the equation are spot on. It's just the symbol and the way that we were visually showing it wasn't quite saying what we needed it to say.
Yeah. And what we want also is to just keep amplifying this understanding that fit matters as much as function, that I think most people these days have a good understanding that one size doesn't fit all in work. And the more that you can understand what your skills and your values and your intentions are, the better that you can align that with what your business is doing and find great opportunities. But I think the bit kind of really distinctive about the equation is this idea that environmental fit becomes so important. And so we wanted to find a way to really amplify that, and we've tightened it. So you ready for the drum roll?
Drum roll, here it is.
So the new visual for the career equation that you're going to start seeing around in lots of different places is actually skills plus passions plus impact. That all stays the same, but multiplied by environmental fit squared. So we now define a thriving career as your character, skills plus passion plus impact, and then the multiplier of making sure that you've got environmental fit and squaring it to just really emphasize how important that is. So now it's both mathematically sound and it's conceptually true, because your environment multiplies everything else. And when it's a great fit, then your skills and passions are really amplified, and it really helps businesses to focus on not just the individual, but the context and frame that they're putting them in. And I find a lot with clients at the moment that I'm talking a lot about the idea of career philosophy, that does your business even articulate what it means when it talks about environment and careers and succeeding around here? That's all part of the fit opportunity and discussion. So we really want to help both the conversations that happen and the individuals to feel super clear about the bits that matter most.
Absolutely. And I think it isn't just about it being a technical tweak, is it? We're talking here about a real mindset shift. You know, environment fit isn't just that in the background detail. It is a force that will either make or break your thriving career. And that's why we've amplified it by saying it's fit squared, because it is that important. And it just reminds me, Erica, yesterday my husband was filling in a questionnaire for his work, and it asked him, how many times a year do you have a one-to-one? He came into my office and he was like, what do they mean by a one-to-one? Because it says not your performance review, like a one-to-one. He was like, I never have a one-to-one. I said, exactly. Like, organizations are still not having conversations with the people that just are curious to find out how you doing, like what's going really well, what you're loving, you know, what would you like to do more of, how's things for you. And, you know, he was just surprised. He was like, well, I don't have them, do I want them? I was like, yes, you want them. You come into me and moan often about things. That's the time to get it off your chest. So I think it is such an important, this environment bit is so overlooked still. And we talk about it all the time, but it still sometimes takes me by surprise about how people aren't really paying any attention to something that is so significant in whether somebody can shine or not in their working environment.
That actually leads us quite nicely into discussion about the format for the podcast, because one of the things that we really recognized, and thank you so much all of you who give your feedback about what you like and what you're enjoying about it, and we've enjoyed tremendously getting out there and exploring how to share the equation the best way. I think what's really come clear is that it's actually the conversation and how to structure and have the conversation that's the most important bit for people. And so in our next series, we're really going to be focusing down on how do we support you to have great and frequent career conversations, one-to-one, in the right way, at the right time, in a way that is scalable within your organization. You know, aside from the visual of kind of looking at the equation and its refresh on our website, our training, our materials, and you can check all that out in the show notes. It should be live by the time that this goes out. We're also thinking about how do we then best represent to you, the listener, the ways that you can use this within your organization, within your teams, how it's worked in terms of real world stories and real examples and practical takeaways. Because I think we've done a good job of showing through the formula discussions how the four components of the equation help you to generate insight within a conversation. But I think what we need to do next is just support you so that you can be having those conversations and to understand how they work in real time. We'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute, but I will just say, like, please do keep feedback coming in because it's incredibly helpful shaping the show. So pod@thecareerequation.com is the place to write to us. And we do read every email. And of course, if you want to be on the show, that's also the place to get in touch with us.
There is literally nothing more exciting than when a listener contacts us to tell us that they've listened to the pod, they found it really helpful. a little bit about their own reflection of what that's then meant for them, about their design and their approach to their firm. So it's really making a difference in terms of what people are hearing and then what we can do to formulate the show as we go forward. And it's such a great way for clients to try out and feel for themselves how it might work for them or in their organization. So after Christmas, we'll be coming back in the new year with a refreshed format. And what you'll start to see from us then is sort of short and sort of structured mini courses that are really aimed at coaches and managers and leaders, all about how to hold these really great quality career conversations. We're also going to have some episodes that are more focused on guest stories. And what we really want to dive into then is the nitty gritty of examples of really good career conversations and bad conversations, and literally hear from people their experiences around that. And we're also going to do a third sort of idea for us is to do some career questions. So where we get people sending us in questions, and then during the session, we'll do a bit of advice around how we might answer that, how Erica and I will chat about the question, what we think. We encourage you to send in your thoughts and answers as well. But it'll be really a sort of a live working through on the show.
Because this is the thing. One of the things that we found quite challenging was we really enjoyed doing the Career Equation Formula format episodes where you're listening in real time to an interesting person with an exciting profession talking about their equation. But the equation has its greatest potency when you've got a major problem, right? When you've got a big decision to make, when maybe you don't want the sort of promotion path displayed in your organization. Maybe you want to make a lateral move and you're really struggling to get taken seriously around that. Maybe you just know you don't want to be a lawyer and you've got no idea what you want to do next. Those are the times when the equation has its greatest potency. And indeed, when you're working perhaps in an outplacement situation where you're sensitively managing someone who's given loyal service and helping support them move in a different direction. But we couldn't get a single person in any of those situations to come on the podcast because nobody wants to go on the record saying, I'm struggling, and have, recorded and available for perpetuity. We just could not get it done. So our thought was, how about we provide a kind of anonymous space where you can send us a short voice note or an email message. It can be completely anonymous. It's just like, this is Erica. I work in a fintech at the moment. And I've been listening to podcasts for blah, blah, blah. And I just want to ask you this question. So that then gives us a chance to show you how the equation can support you in working through a genuine career dilemma without us having the trouble of working with anonymity, people being resistant because they don't want to share, but it's exactly the time when they would best share. So we would love you to send in your questions, queries and inquiries, and we will answer them as a little snippet extra in the show. We're also probably going to pull out from some of the good housekeeping because obviously I get, sadly, not sacks and sacks of emails like Santa. But we do get like 20, 30 letters every week asking about a career dilemma that might be answered in the magazine. And obviously I've only got one column. I can only do one a month. So I'm going to start pulling those in and sharing them with Zoe. So you'll have a chance to hear like some of the other dilemmas. And if you have generously written into GH, do tune into the podcast because we might well be answering your question. So please do send us a little voice note. You can just record it on your phone, any quality will do, and then just hit share, send it by email to pod@thecareerequation.com or write us a little note either via that email or via LinkedIn, and we'll let you know when it might be featured. So let's really start to be able to help with those pain points in a way that doesn't compromise your privacy and anonymity.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about those episodes because I think you're absolutely right. The equation's at its best when it's helping people solve their dilemmas. And that's essentially what people will be sending in. So that's going to be super exciting. But we're also on the lookout for guests for our good conversation, bad conversation. I feel like good cop, bad cop. So yeah, what we really want are leaders and people sharing their stories about when they've had a conversation that was like, wow, that was fantastic conversation. I really enjoyed it and got so much from it. Or you were delivering one that went really well. And the examples of, the worst conversation I ever had was ... So those kinds of things as well, because we can then really see the difference and the impact that has either you on the receiving end or as the deliverer and how you felt that those conversations went. Good conversation, bad conversation. Guests, please let us know if you'd love to be a guest and come and have a chat with Erica or I.
Absolutely. And what we'll probably do is pilot this with ourselves. So we will show you, you'll have a chance to hear and to see what kind of conversation that's going to entail. So you're going to share a bit about your organization and what you're doing around careers right now. And then you're going to tell us a real life story about a conversation that didn't go the way you'd like it to, whether you started it or you're on the receiving end of that conversation, doesn't matter. And then we'll look at one that did go well and dissect what the difference was around those conversations using the equation formulas, structures and strategies to really understand what it is that makes the difference in a powerful careers conversation. So if you're doing something interesting in your business or in your coaching practice or with your teams right now around careers, we'd love to hear from that and to use that as a sort of lift off point to have those discussions. So look, flood our inbox, please. Send us your questions, send us your stories, send us your feedback, send us your putting your hand up saying, I might want to be a guest. We promise we'll be generous and take great care of you and your brand and your business. And it's really just a chance for us all to discover what is a great career conversation. Why does it matter right now? What kind of things are going into it? What are the ingredients? And how do we help you make it really easy to adopt the career equation as a suitable framework within your organization or your coaching practice? And we also want to know, what have you loved about the career equation so far? What's made you switch off or do a little eye roll at us? What do you want more of or less of? Because the trouble with the podcast is you've got to just go out there and do the best that you can with the knowledge that you've got, and it's really been an incredible journey of, I think it's like 10,000 downloads. I think we're up to 12,000 now actually this year. And being on New and Noteworthy and getting all of your amazing feedback. But it's really only when a listener tells us what they're listening to, why they loved it, how it helped them and how they listen. That is gold to us. So please, the biggest gift you can give us is to obviously share and subscribe and review on the podcast and send us a note, either as content, you want to be on it, or you want to answer a question, or as feedback. That would really be amazing. Right, Zoe?
Absolutely. I think we want to feel like Santa, don't we? We want to get loads and loads of letters and feedback would be wonderful. And then we can deliver for you next year. And what we want to deliver in 2026 is much more sort of story driven, really practical, reflective episodes that give you loads of insight. But we love stories because that's what humans love, the power of story. So getting those real examples would be wonderful. And in the meantime, we'll be cozying up for winter. I'll be layering up more scarves. We'll be pausing and reflecting and just thinking a little bit about the career conversations we want to have between people that we talk to. But my invitation to you as well then is to think about how have your career conversations been going this year? What have they been like? And what do you hope for in terms of 2026 in respect of that?
So look, we're going to be off air for a little break, but please don't forget us. We will be back. We're going to record new intros. We're going to plan some episodes. We're going to be talking to the organizations that we work with so we can give you some real world stories of how you scale this, whether you're a global business, a scrappy startup, a public sector organization, and everybody in between. So there'll be real people telling real stories about real impact, which is very, very important to me. And there are some, other things going on. I've got surgery happening post my injuries, which you may or may not have heard about. So I'll be fitting in a little bit of recovery time for that as well and coming back refreshed. But from both of us, I just want to say a huge, huge thank you for your listening, for your trust, for your feedback, for your reviews, for your shares, for helping us to reach that, over 10,000 downloads in our first year. We really, really appreciate it.
And don't forget, folks, one thing you can do if you're missing us over Christmas, which I'm sure you will be, is to dive in some of the episodes that perhaps you've missed, that you've not seen yet. And don't forget the Career Clarity course that people could dive through. So there's plenty of stuff in there still to keep you busy whilst we get ready for the relaunch in 2026.
And of course, if you're interested in how you might embed the career equation within your organization, or you'd like to train with us as a coach, do visit thecareerequation.com. Loads of info there, and you can easily book a call with either of us to explore your options and to do a bit of a career conversations audit about where your organization currently is. And I would say if you're missing me, I would love you to join my Substack. I've just started this. Long form, it's all about the long form for me. It's having a chance to just set things down and do some thinking. And it is a bit more personal than just, professional activities. You'll learn quite a bit more about me as a mother and a person and as a paraplegic and all kinds and as a woman in midlife going, how the heck do I juggle all these things? So please do, if you like that kind of thing, my Substack is called Fireweed. You can find it by searching by my name. We'll put the link in the show notes, and it'd be wonderful to have your support in that way as well. Let's make sure that 2026 turns out to be the year where we really harness and master the power of great career conversations, hopefully with the equation, but other models are available. And in the meantime,
have a wonderful festive period, however you celebrate or escape it. And we'll see you in 2026.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your support, and have a wonderful festive season when you get there. See you in 2026.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Career Equation podcast. Stay connected with us on socials for more career insights, behind-the-scenes moments, and updates on upcoming episodes. And if you'd like to work with us, visit the Career Equation website or click the links in the show notes. Remember, the Career Equation isn't just a podcast, it's a journey towards unlocking your full potential, enjoying your life, and doing remarkable stuff. And don't forget to share your thoughts and feedback with us. Your input shapes the future of our show. Until next time, keep solving those career equations and pursuing your path to success. This is Erica Sosna
and Zoe Schofield.
signing off.